We were in the kitchen of Tarai Castle. When the heroes were all exhausted from the dungeon training, if Eiffel and I didn't have anything else planned, we would get Tsubaki-sama's permission to drop by. One reason for this was so that Eiffel could learn how to cook Torajian dishes. The other reason was so that we could build up our relationship with Tsubaki-sama herself. Be that as it may, your cooking is truly delicious, Eiffel. My head cook is now the one learning from you. Kelvin, can I not convince you to allow Eiffel to enter my service? Wait, I have a better idea. How about all of you enter my service? You and your party have proven yourselves with the evil dragon subjugation. I can make use of that strength of yours. Tsubaki-sama, I have said, no, many times now. Eiffel is my precious companion. And I love my own freedom, as I mentioned at our very first meeting. In the beginning, we had come to the castle kitchens strictly for the recipes. It was only several visits later that Tsubaki-sama began to show an interest in Eiffel's cooking, probably after having been presented with samples of it by some of the castle guards or the servants. Now that Eiffel had raised her cooking skill to rank S, the quality of her meals greatly surpassed even that of the castle's head chef. Having only recently figured out how to make the most of her newfound ability, everything that she cooked was delicious enough to trigger a burst of tears with every bite. After hearing about this incredible cuisine and having tried some for herself, Tsubaki-sama started coming to the kitchen regularly to solicit Eiffel again and again. Clearly, the Japanese passion for food was another cultural tradition that had been passed down in Tarai over the years. As a result, Eiffel herself was currently in a sort of teaching position at the kitchen. The time that she had once put aside to come and learn was now spent on her giving the cooks instructions and pointers instead. Normally, there would be at least a voice or two of dissent in such a situation. But from what I'd heard, Eiffel's lovely appearance, her kind, careful teaching style, and her overwhelmingly incredible cooking abilities had completely conquered the kitchen staff's hearts. There were even some among them who would blush when they looked at her. She was basically their idol at this point. So it did not work. I know that what I am asking is a bit of a stretch, but still, what a shame. Please don't make that face, Tsubaki-sama, said Eiffel. As long as we are in Tarai, I will make sure to come here every day. Do you speak truly? I will consider that a promise. Yes, it is a promise. Although Tsubaki-sama had exuded an extraordinarily formal aura during our initial audience with her, we had ended up on pretty friendly terms after speaking to her on several more occasions. She knew how to differentiate between official duties and private settings. When not in work mode, so to speak, she acted like a regular girl of her age. At this point, she almost felt like an old friend to us. One time, she had even told us, I give you permission to address me without honorifics. There's no need to stand on ceremony with me. But we had obviously chosen to refrain. No matter how close we had grown, there were eyes and ears everywhere. Perhaps she was testing us again, we'd probably never know. However, we believed it important to always show at least the bare minimum of respect merited by our differences in status. Even without dropping the honorifics, we had become informal enough with her already. Kind of sorry to mention this after the promise and all, but we were actually thinking that it's about time for us to leave Tarai. That's quite sudden. First the heroes and now all of you as well? We can't stay away from Parth for too long. Not with so many dangerous monsters appearing in the region lately. Although Rio had been raising the alert level, there wasn't much that could be done about the fact that the strongest adventurers in Parth, aside from my party, were only rank C. Yes, he had assured us that it would be fine to go on this trip, but Ange, Claire San, Old San, and a lot of other people that I was familiar with were still in the city. If I didn't get back soon, I would be the one who was starting to feel worried. Especially considering there had been no word from Melfina yet, either. As its byname of the City of Peace signifies, Parth is the symbol of peace between our four nations. There is surely no more reliable guardian than you and your party, Kelvin. Even so, I cannot help but feel it is a bit of a shame. Thank you for your words, Tsubaki-sama. Although we can't promise much, we'll certainly strive to heed your will. I'm glad to hear it. If you ever change your mind, simply knock on the gates of Tarai Castle. Although I had no intention of taking her up on her offer at the moment, having built up such a close relationship with someone who stood at the helm of an entire country was a huge boon. Because of her standing, Tsubaki-sama did not have a lot of opportunities to speak with those her own age. I had every intention of maintaining our friendship going forward. Tsubaki-sama, we have just finished making a sample of a new kind of pastry. May we have the honor of hearing your opinion? You just made a new pastry, Ifil? I will eat it. I will eat it immediately, and none will stop me. Tsubaki-sama, you are still before your subjects, you know. This queen was perhaps a bit too casual even in her private mode. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Hey, we're back. We have returned. After saying our farewells to Tsubaki-sama, Ifil and I had returned to the inn where we were staying. Gerard was still out, but Sarah was already there. Oh, hey, welcome back. You two went to the castle again today? Yeah. What about you, Sarah? I fished like a pro. As you taught me, I made sure to release the fish I didn't need back into the water. See. To fulfill the promise that I'd made the other day, I had found time here and there to teach Sarah how to fish. In this, too, she exhibited her uncanny ability to master things in no time at all. Thanks to the wealth of detection skills she possessed, she could instantly determine where her prey was. With precise handling of the rod and strength disproportionate to her shapely arms, she developed a powerful style not bound by customs or common practices. All without even picking up the fishing skill, by the way. At this point, she had made quite a name for herself in Tarai as the mysterious, beautiful angler. Today's opponent put up quite a fight. It was about 3 meters long, I think. Ha ha ha, that sounds like fun. I would have loved to see it. No, but for real, that's on the scale of Pacific bluefin tuna, isn't it? What the hell are you putting your poor commercially bought fishing rod through? Don't worry, I brought it back to serve as tonight's main dish. Who's gonna dress and fillet it? So, this falls under your need category, huh? Ifil, of course. I've already dropped it off at the kitchen. Leaving a fish that size in the kitchen is just causing trouble for the inn. And come on, even Ifil wouldn't be able to fillet a whole two. Master, I've already taken a look at it. How would you like it? The locals seem to have several ways of preparing fish. Sashimi, where they slice the meat into small pieces and eat it raw, nitsuke, where they simmer the meat in a condiment called soy sauce, among other things, and tataki, where they sear the surface of the fish but leave the inside largely raw. I was actually just about to go dress and fillet it. Yeah, I'll leave that to your discretion. Understood. I will do what I can. Since when has she mastered how to dress and fillet tuna? Did she learn that from the head chef of Tarai Castle too? My king, what was that in the kitchen? Is it a new kind of monster? Oh, Gerard's back. And it seems like he's gotten a look at dinner. How rude. I fished it, it's a proper fish. I even heard from the locals that it's a high-class fish. Is it really? She's right, Gerard-san. It is a high-class fish called Natu that lives in the Dragon Sea. I can't wait to try my hand at cooking it. Don't worry, man. It's probably really delicious. I swear I'm not going to retort anymore. I'll just say what I've got to say and move on. Since everyone's here, I might as well make my announcement. Tentatively, we'll be heading back to Parth in 3 days' time. Make all the preparations you need to. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow. Even after the heroes of Deramus had departed for the western continent, my party remained in the city a while longer. During that time, Eiffel and I had gone in and out of the castle frequently, all at the invitation of the Queen. Due to this, our faces had gained quite a bit of familiarity among those who lived or worked in the castle. However, not everything that came with this close relationship with the Taraji monarch was what we desired. By the way, Kelvin, are you sure you don't feel like serving Tarai? If you accept now, I can even appoint you to the Tsubaki Guard, the most desirable position of honor in this country. Such a wonderful opportunity might not come again. As I have said many times, I like to be free to do my own thing. You sure don't know when to give up, Tsubaki-sama. Once more, I was being solicited for my services by the young queen, this time in the tatami-lined room that was part of her own quarters. It was during a perfectly amicable chat over tea that she had brought up the topic yet again. The average person wouldn't think of turning down a direct offer from the ruler of one of the largest countries in the world. But adventurers tended to highly value the freedom of not being beholden to anyone. The higher the rank, the more prominent this trait was, and I was no exception. In other words, it wasn't a matter of the compensation, I simply wasn't going to accept, period. That is one of my endearing traits, is it not? I want what I want, and I'm honest about it. I don't compromise, and I don't lose heart. Where on earth has all that noble dignity you showed to the heroes gone? In spite of the repeated rejections, Tsubaki-sama had no intention of backing down. Again and again, she brought the matter up. Round and round we went, with neither side willing to yield an inch. It was an infinite loop between an adventurer who valued his own path and a queen obsessed with recruiting those with talent. Master, what would you like for lunch today? I'd love some grilled fish. For some reason, Tsubaki-sama had jumped in and answered the question instead. The queen had dropped all pretense of formality. If that is the case, I can use the fresh fish that Sarah-san caught this morning. That will do. There's a lot I want to comment on, but forget it. Eiffel, I'll have the same. Understood. I promise that the fish will be the perfect shade of golden brown. With Eiffel here now, I can hardly wait for mealtime every day. The chefs in my employ have also improved across the board. Eiffel, well done. How would you like to become my personal chef? This was the fourth time that Eiffel was being solicited by the young monarch. The invitation is an incredible honor, but I am afraid I cannot accept. Both my body and heart belong fully to my master. My will shall never change nor waver. Did you hear that, Kelvin? As a man, are there any words that could make you happier? Oh ho. Are you embarrassed? Tell me, are you embarrassed? Please, don't poke fun at me, Tsubaki-sama. I'm just happy as all. I tried to play it off, but there was still a slight blush on my cheeks in a rare display of embarrassment brought about by Eiffel's declaration and Tsubaki's teasing. Naturally, there was no way that my incredible maid, who held me above all else in the world, would not notice this change. Master, your body temperature seems a bit high. Are you not feeling well? Don't worry, I'm feeling very well. My chest is just overflowing with happiness right now. I heaved an internal sigh of relief that Gerard was not present. If the knight had been here, he would have followed up with something snarky, which would have led to knight and queen hitting it off and causing an even bigger headache for this poor cornered summoner. And if Tsubaki-sama had proceeded to solicit him, well, in short, it really was a blessing that Gerard had not come along today. After parting with the heroes, Gerard and I had once again confirmed our bond with each other. No matter what Tsubaki said, he would have turned her down as emphatically as Eiffel had. Well, maybe he would have. It was hard to tell, as the knight had a playful side to him that would sometimes spur him to do the unthinkable. You two sure drive a hard bargain. All right, best offer yet. How would you like to become my personal caretaker? Tsubaki-sama, that sounds like a downgrade from the guard position you mentioned before. No, hear me out. Depending on how you look at it, this would be an upgrade. If you became my personal caretaker, you would be helping me change in the mornings and bathe in the evenings. I know I may be tooting my own horn here, but I have a rather desirable appearance, do I not? If you are interested in taking matters in that direction, you would have a fighting chance. Tsubaki threw out her chest proudly. She had finally resorted to putting herself onto the negotiation table. I furiously racked my brain for a way out of this tricky spot. I see. So, in short, the duties of the position would be the same as what I do for Master. Tsubaki choked in response to the unexpected comment from Ifil. Tsubaki-sama, both Ifil and I cried in concern. Don't worry, I'm fine. I was just a bit caught off guard is all. You don't look like it, but Kelvin, you sure are a shameless man. Tsubaki-sama turned her face, which was now even redder than mine had been earlier, to the side. For being the monarch of one of the largest countries in the world, Queen Tsubaki Fujiwara was a surprisingly innocent girl. You were the one who brought the topic up, Tsubaki-sama. And Ifil, please don't mention that kind of thing in front of other people, all right? Why not, Master? I did not say anything to be ashamed of. There was no hesitation in her response at all. Even so, it reflects on my reputation. All right, then, let me put it this way. What we do when we are alone with each other is a secret just for the two of us. You can't let anyone else know. A secret only for the two of us. I understand fully, Master. Ifil's expression and tone were entirely normal, but her elven ears were a different story. The specifics will be abridged, but in short, those ears were as expressive as a dog's tail. Apparently, the word, hesitation, just wasn't in her book. So, this approach did not work, either. What formidable opponents you are. Tsubaki-sama, may I ask something? I inquired. You may. Why are you so eager to recruit us? Chirai is a large country, and I have heard that it is even under the Water Dragon King's protection. I had been wondering about this for a while now. Wanting to recruit rare talent was common for someone in a position of power, but Tsubaki's persistence had gone far beyond what would be considered normal. Good question, she replied before slowly correcting her posture as if to ramp the tension. After a dramatic pause, she declared, because it's my hobby. Ifil, I think it's about time we get back home for the day. No, hold on. I was joking, of course. Well, half of it was a joke. In other words, she had been half serious. However, Tsubaki-sama seemed to understand that any further kidding around would be counterproductive. She quickly mustered some measure of the dignity that she had adopted while facing the heroes of Deramus. This Water Dragon King that you speak of is known as the Dragon God among us. And it is as you said, we truly do believe that we have his blessing. When we were under attack by a massive fleet during a great war in times past, a storm sprang up that swallowed the enemy whole. When we were attacked by a terrible monster, an unbelievably large slime according to the history texts. If you would believe them, we were pulled back from the brink of annihilation by the timely arrival of the hero of the age. See. Right, big slime. I forced a smile and averted my gaze, trying not to feel guilty. Of course, one of my followers, Clotho, was the exact same species of slime as the monster that Tsubaki had just described. Naturally, I had no intention whatsoever of bringing that up, although in Tsubaki's case, hearing about Clotho would likely spur her to redouble her solicitation efforts rather than recoil. However, we cannot rely on the Dragon God for protection forever. I wish to bolster Toraja's natural strength during my reign. That is my true motivation. Tsubaki looked out her window at the country spread out below us and smiled fondly. Daramus has the Oracle and the heroes. Gon has the Beast King and his children. Trison has a whole army, as well as many remarkable generals who lead that army. The last one in particular seems to be making rather suspicious movements as of late, with the Black Wind issue that you helped to resolve being one such example. The more prepared I am now, the better off I will be down the line. Do you now understand where I am coming from? Well, yes, I suppose I do. Oh. In that case. Tsubaki was so excited that she leaned forward over the table, but I raised a hand to curb her expectations. However, the two matters are completely separate. My will remains unchanged. Even after I have been this open with you? The cruelty. My cold response, delivered while grabbing one of the orange-like fruits called mikan, which were laid out on the table, prompted Tsubaki to flare up again. While stuffing my face, I thought to myself, if I let her go on, we'll just be repeating the same conversation all over again. Well, that, and, the other piece of fruit, the one that Ifil squeezed a few times, was definitely sweeter and more delicious. In any case, I desperately tried to change the topic at hand. Speaking of the Water Dragon King, he should be quite strong, right? After all, he's an older dragon and dragons are supposedly one of the most powerful races in the world. I would love to meet him even once. Although I wasn't lying, I had left out a rather important detail. I wanted to meet the dragon because I wanted to see how it would be to fight him. Are you interested in the dragon god? We can go visit him in the Dragon Sea if you so wish. Wait, really? While casually picking out the white pith on her mikan, Tsubaki had just dropped quite a bombshell. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Bordered by the Dragon Sea and blessed with fertile swaths of land, Terai was a country with booming fishing and agriculture industries. By wisely leveraging local agricultural methods and unique shipbuilding techniques passed down through the generations, this Japan-like kingdom had secured for itself the position of foremost industrial nation in the world. There was a system in place where anyone who made significant contributions, those who helped to support or push the country forward in some tangible way, were rewarded proportionally. This was as true for those running large farms as it was for those heading fleets of fishing ships, which would then sell their harvests or catches wholesale to the local market. There were any number of ways in any number of industries to distinguish oneself. Taking the fisherman as an example, someone whose skills were publicly acknowledged would have his exclusive fishing area expanded, in turn giving him more access to rarer prey. However, there was a certain area within the Dragon Sea that no fishermen, regardless of what sort of name they had made for themselves, were allowed to venture. This was the Dragon Path of the Vermilion Shrines, a series of Vermilion Torii gates that were seemingly floating over the ocean. This path, which actually led to the den of the Water Dragon King, was strictly off-limits without express permission from the Queen. At present, Ifil and I were standing in that very forbidden spot, having been brought there by Tsubaki-sama herself. Woo! Look at the Torii, I gasped. This scenery is amazing. And we have it all to ourselves. It does seem overwhelming somehow, Ifil agreed. It's beautiful. There wasn't a single fishing vessel in sight all the way to the horizon. On land, too, there was only myself, Ifil, and Tsubaki-sama, with no one else as far as the eye could see. The crowds at the beach that my party had visited with the heroes seemed like a distant memory when looking at the sight before us now. Even the citizens of Terai are only allowed to come here once a year to worship during our annual festival. That is how sacred this place is. You understand? I have brought you two here only because it's you, all right? This is a very special exception. Thank you so much, Tsubaki-sama, Ifil said with a bow. Your heart is as wide as the sky and as deep as the sea. I stand in awe before you, Tsubaki-sama. More than satisfied with the praise, the Queen of Terai threw her chest out and said, I'm glad you've recognized that. However, this was where our problems began. Having arrived at the dragon path of the Vermilion Shrines was fine and all, but the all-important den was nowhere to be seen. Sue, where exactly is the Water Dragon King? The Dragon God? Right there. Right. Where? With a snap, Tsubaki-sama closed her folding fan and thrust it towards the interior of the torii. She was pointing at the depths of the Dragon Sea. Tsubaki-sama. What is with those accusing eyes? I have not lied to you. Normally, the sea would part along the torii in a breathtaking display, revealing a path straight to the Dragon God's den. However, he is a bit of a whimsical being, and he opens the path only when he truly desires to do so. Even I have not had the honor of an audience for a long, long time. So, well, don't take it personally. Tsubaki-sama chuckled loudly as she gave my back several heavy slaps. However, her attempt to gloss over the situation had clearly fallen flat. Just like a horse that had been baited with a carrot and then had it taken away, my shoulders drooped as disappointment radiated from every pore of my body. It was all too clear to anyone watching just how much I had been looking forward to the meeting. Thanks to Eiffel wordlessly stroking my back, I eventually recovered enough to manage, well, guess I should be glad that I got to see this amazing scenery. Oh, have you recovered? How starved for battle are you? I wish my soldiers had even half of your enthusiastic mindset. Tsubaki-sama's words sounded like a joke, but chances were high that she was partly serious as well. Wait, would that mean less fun for me? No, but if they all come at me at once. Hey, if it isn't Kelvin and Eiffel. Are you two here to fish as well? What? A bright voice that I was all too familiar with prompted me to turn around. The beautiful woman standing in the distance, her Eiffel-tailored Chinese-style dress and fire-red side ponytail blowing about in the brisk sea wind, was none other than Sarah. Apparently, she had been there all along, just out of sight in the shadow of a levee. Oh, hey, Sarah. Why are you here? What do you mean, why? Tsubaki told me that she knew a great fishing spot, so I followed her, and she led me here. Thanks to her, I've been able to catch a ton of really rare fish, and there's no one else around, so I have the whole place to myself. Aren't you two here for the same thing? Sarah proudly shoved forward a container that was more like a bathtub than a bucket. Within it were a variety of freshly caught fish swimming around, almost like they were in an aquarium. Oh ho! They're small, but I spy Natu in there. Those are my favorites. Is that right? We actually had Natu yesterday, so I was planning on letting them go. You want them instead? Are you sure about that? The Queen laughed merrily. Kelvin, you sure have wonderful compa. I interrupted her by placing a hand on her shoulder. Tsubaki-sama seemed intent on wrapping everything up quite nicely, but sometimes, things just don't work out that way. Tsubaki-sama, truthfully, why did you bring Sarah here too? I only told her about this place because this is a great fishing spot, replied the Queen. However, her eyes were shifting so furiously that they almost seemed to be swimming. Ahaha, as expected of the Queen of the Country of Water. She can make her eyes swim without even getting wet. Didn't you say this is a deeply sacred place and therefore strictly off limits? I did indeed. I do not lie. Oh, right, I remember now. Tsubaki asked me if I wanted to stay in Terai as a general. I did turn her down on the spot, though. Sarah's words proved to be an indictment for the Queen. Judging from her bright tone and cheerful expression, Sarah clearly had not made the comment with any malice. Even so, the Queen's favor of offering this sacred ground as a fishing spot had been betrayed in the worst possible way. Hold on. That was meant to be a secret between the two of us. Master, is that not Gerard-san over there? This time, Eiffel pointed in the opposite direction. Squinting my eyes, I could just make out a black armored figure lying on a beach chair far in the distance. Add a pair of sunglasses and it would have made the perfect summer vacation photo. Did he come here to get a tan? For his skin or for his armor? Even though his armor is already pitch black? Although it was true that he had become capable of materializing, what was the point if he was going to keep his armor on? There were a ton of questions that I wanted to ask the knight, but I pushed them aside. There were more pressing matters at the moment. Even you, Eiffel, cried Tsubaki in the vein of, "Et tu, brute," as she crumpled to the sandy ground. This was the moment where the queen learned Eiffel's priorities the hard way, with yours truly at the very top of the list. It was quite a good idea, Tsubaki-sama, trying to recruit my party members directly without going through me. K. Kelvin, hold on. Your eyes aren't laughing, your eyes aren't laughing. Apparently, after a long round of negotiating, the price of a certain knight's betrayal had been a full set of tatami mats and interior decorations for a Japanese-style room. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. With Tsubaki-sama's guards leading the way, Tsubaki-sama, my party, and I slowly made our way down a flight of stairs that wound beneath Tarai Castle. We were heading for the teleportation room. As it turns out, this very convenient device so often used in works of fiction existed in this world as well. It's my first time hearing about teleportation gates here, I murmured as our footsteps echoed through the stairwell. That is surprising. And here I thought all adventurers knew about them as a matter of course. You sometimes seem oblivious to the most unusual things. Ahaha, my own party members have often told me the same thing. I can't help it, I did grow up in the middle of nowhere, after all. Behind us, I could hear Sarah giggling to herself, but I pointedly ignored her. After all, I really didn't know about any of this stuff. If Rio knew that such a convenient method of travel existed, why didn't he tell me earlier? Well, to be fair, this isn't something that an average adventurer could use casually. We are almost there. There's no helping it, I'll have to give you a rundown on the way. Am I just imagining things or does she seem a bit happy about this? The teleportation gate is, as the name implies, a gate-like device that teleports whoever passes through it. The destination can be any other teleportation gate in the world, but there are certain restrictions. First of all, activating the door requires a massive amount of magic, with the specific amount being proportionate to the distance to be traveled. At the moment, you are going to Parth, so the amount of magic needed is on the lower side. I see. And are there teleportation gates in every city? No, these are generally only found in each country's capital and a few of the other larger cities. After all, they operate on technology that has been lost over the ages, so, while we have no trouble using them, there is no one alive who knows how to build new ones. Accordingly, each country keeps its own gates under strict management. This is one of several reasons the average adventurer would not be able to use them for casual travel. Fair enough. There's no telling what mischief people might get up to if these were open to the public. If the gates in the other capitals are also located beneath their respective palaces, it would be like a permanently open back door situated in the heart of the country. The only people who can use these gates are those with a certain amount of status. In terms that you, as an adventurer, would understand, it would normally have to be someone at rank A, who has been authorized by the gatekeepers on both sides. Do you remember when we asked for your guild card before? It was then that we applied Toraj's authorization to it. In other words, you now have the right to use our gate. And look at your card, it carries my personal seal. Not only does that allow you to use the teleportation device, but you can also claim additional benefits all over Tarai. I took a closer look at my guild card and Sure enough, there was Torage's national emblem with the character, Chun, Tsubaki, in small font underneath, not written in the alphabet of this world but in kanji. My guild card served as my proof of identity, and now it also bore Tsubaki-sama's express approval. Based on the explanation that she just gave, though, that in and of itself probably isn't enough to use the gate. Hang on a moment, please. Being acknowledged by you is an enormous honor, but I haven't received any authorization from a gatekeeper on Parth's side. I would need that too, wouldn't I? In the first place, I had never heard mention of such a thing back in Parth. I don't remember ever seeing a gate like this, either. What are you saying? It's right there on your card. The required authorization from Guildmaster Ryo, the gatekeeper of Parth. I'm sorry, what? I took a closer look at my guild card. There wasn't anything that resembled an auth. Oh. Are you referring to this symbol of a wing? Indeed. That's what it's for, and here I was thinking the symbol to be the guild's mark all along. I mean, it was on the card when I first received it. Aren't they a bit too loose with how they're handing out these authorizations? The Queen laughed with delight. I finally get to see your surprised face. Worry not, Guildmaster Ryo is not a man who hands out his seal left and right. What do you mean? That symbol is the crest of the Adventurers Guild in Parth. The Adventurers Guild here in Terai uses a shield. The mark is printed on even rank F Adventurers cards, but only when imbued with magic does it actually take effect. Go on, try pouring some magic into your card. I obediently sent a small sliver of magic into it. Interesting. So beautiful. Neither Gerard nor Ephil could help but vocalize their feelings as they watched the golden light emanating from the wing symbol on my card. This is a phenomenon that only occurs with cards that carry Guildmaster Ryo's approval. That old geezer is an obstinate man, after all. He acknowledged you, but probably never bothered to actually explain it. Nope, this is the first I'm hearing of it. In fact, he never even told me about the teleportation gate itself. Ha ha ha. If I had to guess, he likely set it up when you turned your card in after your last promotion. As Tsubaki-sama laughed with merriment, a set of enormous doors came into view. We've arrived. This is the teleportation room. The doors opened, revealing a gigantic gate that seemed almost tall enough to touch the ceiling. At this size, even one of my golems could walk through it. Standing around the gate were 7 people in mage-like attire. Everything is in order, Your Majesty. We have finished supplying the gate with magic. It is ready to be used at any time. An older man who looked like the head mage bowed at Tsubaki-sama, with the others quickly following suit. They were all breathing heavily, probably as a result of having used up all their magic. Well then, Kelvin. As you can see, the gate is primed and ready to go. All you have to do is select your destination and await confirmation from the other side. Do you see that stone pedestal over there? Place your guild card on it, then visualize where you want to go. Since you already possess the proper authorizations, the gate should open up automatically. What a fantasy-like way of operating the thing. Alright, let's give it a try. Guild card on stone pedestal. Visualize the landscape of Parth. The device immediately roared to life. The gate has opened. Run on through. The portal only remains active for a limited period of time. What the hell? Please tell us important information like that in advance. Master, I shall go first just in case. Tsubaki-sama, I pray that we will meet again. As do I. I look forward to the day I can taste your cooking once again. Without hesitation, Ephil leapt into the twisting whirlpool of light. Tsubaki-sama clapped her hands to urge the rest of us forward. Go on, in you go. The gate will be closing soon. Oh my goddess, did it have to be such a hurried parting? Anyway, I guess we'll be returning to Parth, then. Feel free to call on me if you ever need anything in the future. I shall do my best to be of assistance. In fact, if you've changed your mind about serving Turai, even now I see you later. It hurt my heart oh so much to cut off the queen mid-sentence, but the gate seemed like it was going to close soon, so I quickly darted over the threshold. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Light filled my vision for a split second, then my feet touched solid ground again. I heard the sound of 2 more pairs of feet landing behind me, then the gate closed with another roar. Judging from the fact that you've returned by way of the teleportation gate, I take it you've made quite the name for yourself over in Turai, Kelvin Kun. And hello to you too, Guildmaster. I wouldn't really say that I've made a name for myself, I just sort of did what I wanted to do. Eiffel, having jumped through the portal first, was standing in front of me next to Rio, who had apparently been lying in wait for us. You knew that we were coming back? The Queen of Turai contacted me personally. She sounded like she was in an extremely good mood, so how can I not come to welcome you back in person? Ha ha ha, I guess you've gotta do what you've gotta do. Ho ho ho, that I do, that I do. The air rang with our strangely nuanced laughter. Is it just me or is Kelvin acting kind of weird? What's happening to him? My king is quite bad at dealing with Guildmaster Rio. You can't really blame him, as he's been outmaneuvered several times now. Are you guys purposely using the network's open channel? Not that Gerard's wrong, but still. So, Kelvin Kun, how was your holiday in Turai? Very relaxing. I brought back a lot of souvenirs and even got to meet the Queen in person. And the heroes of Deramis, I suppose that taking care of them was enjoyable too? Oh, you wouldn't believe how wet behind the ears they, wait. I thought I saw Rio's monocle glint for a split second. No, I know that I saw it glint. Oh yes, I know all about that. You and your party were mistaken for Black Wind, and you had no choice but to retaliate. And you managed to do so without dealing any significant damage to the heroes. Well done, Kelvin Kun, well done. How does he already know everything in such detail? But I wonder, was it really the heroes' misunderstanding? Or was this a setup by someone? And would that someone know how very much it had cost Parth to pull the wool over the eyes of the Daramesian spies? Did a certain someone consider the fact that if something had actually happened to the heroes, it would have ended up becoming a diplomatic fiasco far beyond the scale of simply apprehending Kristoff and his little group? Goddammit, I can't win. How absurd is this old raccoon dog's information gathering ability? Why am I finding myself having to apologize the very second I get back? After somehow working through this awkward moment while my companions looked on in amusement, I found myself forced to accept a gigantic reward. This is the bounty for taking down Black Wind, I guess? And was sent on home with a final, just be more careful going forward. So, I suppose I should take this whole thing as proof of Rio's trust in me?